Hi. So I don't know how many of you know Julia Ting, but she graduated last year, and I was emailing with her yesterday, 2 days ago, and I was so jealous that she was able to start college on or in person. As I said, Ben Salem is going virtual, and she finished her next email by saying that she was going to pray for all of you who had to take physics online. So that's where I'm going to start. Um, you are here because you signed up for AP Physics 1, and I'm Mr. Sterman. Um, and this is the very beginning of what is going to be a really interesting experience. Um, I've taught on 2 continents, in 4 different buildings, over 4 different decades, but I have never taught virtually during a pandemic. Okay, last year, by the time we closed down Ben Salem, AP Physics was already done covering material. And so during our quarantine period, all we did was review. So this is actually going to be brand new for me. Um, we're going to have to figure out how to get material to you. What's the best method for you to learn things? Um, so we're going to figure that out together. All right. So I live in Cheltenham. You see behind you a bunch of trees. It's about half an hour from Ben Salem. I have a son who's going to be a junior in Cheltenham High School this year, and a daughter who's a freshman. So I have kids your age. So when I come home, I get to hear about all their terrible teachers and the struggles. And this year, I'll have inside information on what it's like to be a virtual student because Cheltenham is also going 100% online. Um, so we're just going to try and play this out together. So you signed up for physics this year. And the first thing you need to know is that it's AP Physics. And because it's AP Physics, there is a set timetable. The exam occurs early in May, and we need to be done the material long before then. So I've actually already posted on Schoology a schedule for the year. But that schedule will not vary. Um, no matter what happens, if we're back in school, if we stay virtual the entire time, if we have a snowstorm that knocks out power for a week, we are going to stick to that schedule. Um, it's super important that we do everything we can. We cover all the material. Um, it's that's what the test demands, and that's what we're going to do. It's also really important that you get used to the fact that when we move on to a new topic, you're still going to feel confused about the old topic. Um, that's weird. It's going to make you feel awkward because a lot of classes, it seems like if you just said, look, I'm confused, then the teacher would stay on that topic for a long time. That's not going to happen. We're going to move on. And we're going to move on for a couple reasons. One, physics tends to build on itself. And so even though you're not 100% comfortable with what we're doing or what we did, when I use it to move us forward, you're going to continue to become more and more comfortable with it. The other reason we're going to continue moving forward is that to get a 5 on the AP Physics exam, you only really need to know about 75% of the material. To get a 3 on the AP Physics exam, you only need to know half of what I teach you. So honestly, if you're confused about one thing, that's normal. It's expected. So we move forward so that I can expose you to all the different material. So at the end, we can figure out where are your strengths and where are your weaknesses. What do we need to do to shore up some of those weaknesses, and how do we make those strengths even stronger so that at the end, we put you in the best possible position to do well on that exam. Okay. What's the year going to look like? There's a rhythm to it. So every unit that we cover is roughly 2 weeks long. So we'll start out, we're going to look at motion in one dimension. So you're going to ride in a car, or you're going to roll a ball down the street. Things that move in a straight line. And we're going to talk as much as we can about how do we know that things are moving, how do we measure a moving object, and what's the vocabulary we use to describe that. Then we're going to move into objects that move in things that are not straight lines. How are they different than things that move in a straight line? Then we'll move on to talking about Newton and how he described why things move, why things stop moving, why things start moving in shapes other than straight lines. And then from there on, we'll go on to talk about energy, things that spin in a circle, because circles have a special place for physicists. And then at the end of the year, we'll leave ourselves about 3 weeks to do nothing but review, to look back. Hopefully you picked up a physics book and a physics review book, 5 Steps to a 5. I know for a fact that some people got the wrong physics textbook, and honestly, that's okay. We won't use the book. It's for you. So if you have a physics book, it's a good one. It'll work just fine. I've posted some links online, so there are other resources that you can get to through Schoology. The other thing I want to talk to you about is the homework. The homework is always done through WebAssign, and so you need an account there. You will submit those homework assignments every week without fail, and we'll talk about how they get graded, but the important thing for now is that you know that you also need to present work to me. So at the end of the day, you're going to put all your answers online, but then you're going to submit some kind of evidence that shows you actually worked on it for 2 reasons. One, it's helpful for you to be able to go back later and say, like, oh, shoot, how do you solve this problem? Oh, I have my work. It outlines how I solve it. And 2, it helps me because when I look at your work, I can tell you, like, oh, like step 1 is great, step 2 is great, step 3, ooh, you don't understand the physics here, you missed something, or, oh, you just made a silly math error. Like 1 + 1 does not equal 3. And so it helps me as a teacher be able to diagnose what's going on. So it's a piece of the communication, which leads me into my last part of this video, which is I need your help. Learning is all about acquiring information, but it's hard. You have to think about it this way, like for thousands of years, humans have been on this planet, and physics is really only about 200 years old, right? So for thousands of years, people were trying to figure this out, and it wasn't until Newton came along and gave us some really good ideas. So learning it on your own is rough. You can go on YouTube, you can go on the internet, but even then, they might not help. So my job is to try and explain things to you, and your job is to force me to do that. So if you don't understand something, you have to tell me, Sterman, like, nope, like, give me another way, right? And it's my job to figure out how to fight through and give you another way to look at it until eventually it makes sense, okay? So email me, message me on Schoology, text me. It's my job, especially since we can't be together, to be available. Take advantage of that. All right. Let's make the best of this and see how it goes. Bye-bye.